When Reverend Nancy asked me if I would like to do this piece, my immediate reaction was no. I cannot tell you how far out of my comfort zone this is, but here I am. I work with people every day. I teach students. I do presentations in the classroom and online, but talking about my faith doesn't come easy for me. Typical Northern Ireland attitude, I suppose, and particularly North Antrim, where men do not tend to wear their heart on their sleeve. The brief was suffering. Where on earth do you start? Every one of us has suffered mentally or physically in our lifetimes, but I suppose for me, through my job in particular, I've witnessed much suffering. I've worked for the Northern Ireland Ambulance Service for 20 years now and have witnessed many incidents, plenty with a positive outcome, but unfortunately not always. The one common theme in all these events, though, is suffering. When my colleagues and I would arrive at a scene, it is because someone is suffering, usually in pain, and they need help. I'm educated and trained to provide practical help. It is second nature to me, and I suppose I do feel privileged that I'm able to help ease someone's pain, treat an injury, or give a medication for an illness, sometimes providing immediate life-saving treatment. But this help is only skin deep. For someone to be completely healed, it will take something or someone much more than a paramedic or a doctor or a surgeon. We all need God in our lives. We need to have faith that He will heal us, but in times of difficulty or suffering, this can be very hard to accept. My shift work meant that I spent a lot of time away from home. I missed special occasions and wasn't able to help as often with the demands of raising a young family, but it also meant that I missed Sunday worship on a regular basis. I have to confess that my faith also suffered as a result. I had the Bible on my phone and I did turn to it often and I prayed, but my faith didn't progress. I didn't feel fulfilled. I also didn't have the opportunity to get to know as many people in the church as I would have liked during those years. But now with regular 9 to 5 hours, much has changed, and before COVID struck I really felt a sense of unity and belonging in our church family. Attending worship regularly, helping at youth club and actually doing church, being an active member of the church has strengthened my faith. Isaiah 53 tells us, He was pierced for our transgressions, He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon Him, and by His stripes we are healed. God is our healer. Our scars are proof of this, but we must believe it. Jesus bore terrible suffering to heal us, to save us. Hebrews 9 says He will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who eagerly await Him. He did it for us. No one ever tells us it's going to be easy. Following God isn't a free ticket to an easy time or a way of getting everything we want. For me, following God brings me peace, gives me strength to cope with suffering, and over the last few years I've really felt this and relied on it. I have asked Gillian many times, why has this happened? What have I done to deserve this? We talked, we prayed, people were praying for us. In this I found new strength to keep going, to deal with these events. God knew I was suffering. I placed my trust in Him to help me, to help us. No magic wand was waved, and overnight events didn't go away or suddenly mend, but I was comforted. I knew that God was in control. Matthew 11 had never meant so much. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Pain and suffering does leave you weary, physically and mentally, but God is assuring us that He will replenish us. He will bring us peace. Jesus suffered unimaginable pain on the cross for us, and I know this Easter I will celebrate Jesus' rebirth. He is giving me hope, He is bringing me peace, and He is easing my suffering. It is difficult to put all faith in Him and not worry about the everyday stresses. I know that if you ask God for help, He does give it, and in the way that is best, but maybe not the way you have asked for it. I have worried about things, prayed about them, still worried about them, then realised that things were starting to become less stressful. Having the ability to let God take over and trust Him doesn't come naturally to most. However, this is what we must do for true peace of mind. Sometimes bad things happen. People get hurt, injured, and die. We all have to keep thinking that this is God's will. I have been with many people when they have died. It does leave its mark. However, having the strength and compassion to be there for family or loved ones and offering them comfort and support during a devastating time, I believe comes from having a strong faith and believing that dying is not the end but the start of an eternal life with God. God gives people the ability to become scientists who develop vaccines and medications. God gives people the ability to become doctors or paramedics. Through such people, physical and mental healing may be possible. However, through God alone can we gain eternal healing. Death is not the end, but the start of a new eternal life.